Synergetic journal video of my individual ongoing non-political manifesto, April 22nd through 23rd, 2026. Anticipatory realities, the closest approach to eternity in God, Part 6. If intellect's potential omnirational anticipatory realities do not include a different economic accounting system as a viable alternative, there is no logical expectation that the present-day dilemmas can improve. Primarily because, and despite periodic successes of interrelating communication experiences for some humans on Earth, it includes histories that account for offsetting percentages that regenerate disadvantaged populations of people in the world to worsening degrees of their desperation. Our 21st century mentality is designed in principle by universe eternal omniscient mind to coexist on Earth as a whole, WHOLE humanity, not to program AI robots to do our thinking for us concerning every conceivable degree. So let's not confuse this synergetically informed omnirational objective which cannot control computer hackers who seem to have access to my word processing files as I am typewriting before recording audio and video productions and disseminating the content to my YouTube channel. In quotes, reality is always orbital, and orbit equals circuit, end quote, writes Minster Fuller in Synergetics dictionary. It is always indeterminate. It helps immensely to know that, in quotes, the only reality is the abstraction of eternal generalized principles, end quotes, RBF. Awareness of the eternal generalized principles, one of which is Einstein's famous energy equation, is more of a reality than the qualities they produce. An eternal generalized principle has to have one term on one side of the equation and at least two terms on the other side of the equal sign, such as E equal mc to the second power. That's energy equal mass times the speed of radiation times itself, which is lowercase c to the second power. Energy articulations, therefore, can be conceptualized by metaphysical intellect's inherent ability independent of size times space, made easier with synergetically informed knowledge of a universe's energy models, especially since the conceptuality of reality's minimum structural system is always a positive or negative set of the whole in the context of a description of zero vector equilibrium. Vector equilibrium is omnirational, omnidirectional universe's equanimity model. So the concept equanimity is close at hand as the observable articulations when demonstrating the geometry and topology of the vector equilibrium. Humans use our two hands, one of which is meant for writing. We need two hands as a hands-on experience of Minster Fuller's jitterbug model, also known as the vector flexor, to demonstrate the essential transformations from the VE to the icosahedron, to the octahedron, to the tetrahedron. This model is replete with topological inventory of vectors and vertexes which show triangular and square areas and corners which are knowable as vertexes once the mind in the rudimentary experience is informed of it. The vector equilibrium is the tetrahedron's empty set, so we ought to know about the set before any action-reaction result in human behavior inclination occurs for any duration is our individual metaphysical intellect cerebral circuitry, which is a neuronal design integral computer, without which our brain-mind cosmic to local information gathering problem solving cannot rationally operate. This is particularly pertaining to consciously coordinated thought language reductions of the tolerance magnitudes of the residual inaccuracies of observation and articulation throughout the evolving universal communication process, TEUCP. In Minster Fuller Synergetics dictionary is a list of set for our focused attention to matters of greatest concern, hoping each time to reduce the tolerance magnitudes of observation and articulation, setting a new course for our humanity that is freed from the PRJMWBSHM once and for all. It is more economically reenacting It is more economically enacting than reenacting declarations of war, which is aggravated by enmity-making mindsets. The most obvious example hails from Iran's death wishes against Israel and America, as if death threats are natural proclivities and not some insanely religious, extremely aberrant asymmetries to make up for inadequate contrivances that control female populations. What can be served by such pretense that denies the female being continuous because by nature's design she carries the egg for the male to fertilize, and so many more accurate descriptions to assure the male populations that they cannot in fact live without the female in their imagination, all the way to reclaiming her necessity in a fool's paradise, as foolish as this is to reiterate. Obviously, Mr. Fuller's extensive curiosity delved into all that most likely never occurs to our imagination, especially when constrained within the seemingly inescapable contextual parameters of the PRJMW WBSHM, which persistently and ignorantly upstages any individual's apolitical incentives as potentially realizable economic initiatives. C. Central set, circumferential set, closed set, comprehensive set, conceptual set, considered set, empty set, future set, filled set, local set, loose set, minimum regenerative set, net set, non-simultaneous set, now set, nuclear set, number abstract number set concepts, set. C. Radial set, recall set, relevant, lucidly relevant set, positive or negative set of the whole, WHOLE, subset. Thinkable set, variables, general theory of tunable set, tuned in set, intertransformability system set, set C. Experience, October 71, imagination, 5 July 62, mathematics, 13 March 71, non-simultaneity, 1960, parts, 1954, system, 25 May 72, star events, 1960, etymology, August 71, in, out, and around, November 71. In any event, there is a domain that involves every action, reaction, result, and consideration correlating to, depending only on trial and error, survival stratagems in support of all life. So we ought to understand what the word domain defines associatively with cognizing and recognizing metaphysical generalized conceptioning of a domain in fields of thought, as awareness of it always pertains to thinking a thought. Thought begins as two spheres come together, so awareness of thought's geometry is consciously applicable to every living moment, also involves computing as a distinct subset of the internet file extensions we have grown accustomed since the outset of the .com era. The internet addresses share a common suffix, such as .com, .org, .net, with increasing suffixes to facilitate more innovations in the world, and specifically United States of America online, such as .edu for educational institutions, .gov for government entities, .mil, MIL for military organization. A domain is also defined as a sphere of activity or knowledge. In the Synergetics dictionary, metaphysical intellect can be understood as a function of anticipatory design science realities. Inquisitive humans can feel assured respecting controlling the domain of its own thought, which occurs to its observations of the reenacting articulations within the potential realizations of environmental integrity. As a rule, most of the synergetically informed knowledge is overlooked by every political system on Earth. The religion system for thousands of years have been involved with their own survival agendas. The societies where justice prevails are with the final say in many conceivable matters concerning balancing opposing sides of a situation. The military branches serve different purposes. The wars inevitably destroy whole, WHOLE, human habitats and constructions of every architectural design, all of which comprise belief systems in the PRJMWBSHM. The acronym is shorthand for politics, religion, justice, military, war, belief system, hierarchical matrix that approximately few to none on Earth have knowledge of, but those who do have more to work with, correlatively to their individual imaginations' innate ability to conceptually formulate realities without following the worst laid plans of rulers in governmental capacities who ultimately control domains to the nth degree, but not the degrees of freedom that is permitted by the rules of universe at such high frequency during re-employability reality as to make anything possible. Some things naturally take longer, other than from split seconds of billions light years increments. See Albert Winster Fuller Dictionary, Bucky's Address to Yale Political Union, New Haven, December 973. Ultimately, whether paying lip service to unity or sincerely searching for the minimum systems domain as initial unity, we can read in Synergetic 445.05 what initial unity is in respect to the tetrahedron, which is unity of one, and the vector equilibrium as 20 constituting the total volumetric domain that everybody on Earth can refer their universal focus or contemplating points when anticipating differently imagined scenario universe replete with potentially omniconsiderate realities in the most economical conceptioning. The point in every case can be conceptualized as a tetrahedron of negligible base to altitude dimensioning, or we can say, in quotes, a point is a tetrahedron of combined zero phase of both altitude and base, end quote. Awareness of a point goes way beyond someone's biased viewpoint, since it concerns second powering, which relates to little separate energy packages such as energy quanta, which is a superficial radiantly regenerated vertex of convergence of the system. Obviously, a lot is going on in the environment of thought at the microcosmic level way before someone's PRJMWBSHM hierarchical matrix mindsets calculate whichever points of view are more influentially in agreement with the ruling authorities relative to self-serving money-making schemes and positions of governments that tend to perpetuate intentionally contrived dominance in powerful domains. Since the eternal generalized principle is more of a reality than the qualities they produce, the focused intellect can inquire into RBF's conceptual versus quantitative, his cosmic accounting, mensurations, and measurements in tetravolumes. Not doing so attests to compromising potential consciousness evolution's integral design, which clearly goes way beyond the historically imposed slave mentality conditioning that presently rules the world. Thank you. Gratefully, faithfully, eternally, Christina Herlifson. Contact herlifsoncristina@gmail.com. The moment has arrived. It feels just right. So if it's not asking too much of you, would you be so kind to share this unforgettable moment with my ever-loving heart? I've always had you, no one but you, on my mind from some unknown eternal start. Way before we met on that fateful day. So, hey, come on, what do you say? Would you be so kind to share this unforgettable moment with me? After all, we were always meant to be, and there has never been anyone in the world as important to me. Yes, oh yes, it's not just a